At least 70 people have died in the attempt to capture notorious Jalisco New Generation cartel leader and in the violent aftermath of his death. Some are security forces, others are suspected members of the cartel. 25 members of the Mexico National Guard were killed in retaliatory violence as gang members blocked roads and set fires to cars and businesses. Nemesio Oseguro Cervantes, better known as El Mencho, was hiding out in a city 2 hours southwest of Guadalajara. Mexican authorities followed one of his romantic partners to his hideaway, and a gun battle ensued. The drug lord and 8 members of his cartel died on the way to Mexico City.
They did it with American generated intelligence and target packaging.
Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum says she's restoring peace and security. El Mencho was the boss of the fast-growing criminal organization known for trafficking fentanyl, meth, and cocaine into the U.S. and attacking local government officials.
So what do your tactics look like when you go in to rescue these Americans? How are you going in and how are you getting them out?
We like to use we have a ground piece, an air piece. We also have a maritime piece if we need it as a contingency, at least for this side of Mexico. We employ helicopters, we employ fixed wing aircraft, we employ up armored vehicles, we employ all kinds of other tactics designed to evade conflict. We're not here to fight and win any war. We're not, the fight between the cartels and the army is not our fight. Our job is to rescue Americans that are trapped and cut off where the air carriers have canceled flights, where the streets are dangerous. We'll fly helicopters in, pick people up, and bring them to where they need to be, either to get out by Comair to the airport, which is opening up, thankfully, or on charter air, which we coordinate and arrange.
Yeah.
Most flights into and out of Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara back on schedule today, including flights leaving DFW. This comes after violence erupted in Mexico following the killing of a major cartel leader over the weekend. This is video from Puerto Vallarta. You can see burned vehicles, damaged businesses, and homes in parts of the country. They're taking damage. Mexico's president says there is now greater calm in the region. Officials say most activity has now returned to normal, but the U.S. Embassy still urging Americans in some areas to shelter in place. And this cartel does have ties to North Texas. Federal prosecutors in Dallas once sentenced a dozen members of the Jalisco New Generation cartel in a major drug trafficking case. Prosecutors say the group smuggled nearly 200 kilos of meth hidden in buckets inside a diesel truck with a street value of more than $9 million. Many are questioning, is it safe to cruise to Mexico right now? Cruise passengers sailing out of Galveston expected to take extra precautions. Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, and MSC say cruises are still running, but some shore excursions could change. Travelers are advised to check federal travel alerts and follow local guidance before going ashore. Most airports in Mexico are operating normally this morning, but the U.S. State Department is still encouraging Americans to remain in place in some specific locations.
Yeah, baby, it's episode 20 of Probable Cause on February 24th, 2026. Jeff Norman and the FBI whistleblower himself, Greg Dillon, with you as we always are on Tuesday nights. And tonight, an encore return appearance by our friend Kenneth Strange, former FBI agent. In particular, he worked with the Joint Terrorism Task Force. He was on the border for 12 years. He wrote a book called A Cop's Son. Much of it is about his experience dealing with cartels. So that means tonight we can probably find out a little bit more than just whether or not Americans vacationing are going to get home, and maybe dig a little bit deeper and take a look at how this might have a long-term impact on Mexico and what might be happening with the cartels. And the top lieutenants, I guess, are maybe having a civil war to fight for leadership, and all kinds of mayhem possible. So I guess Ken can clarify that for us. Good evening to you, Ken and Greg. How are you gentlemen tonight?
Good, thank you, Jeff. Hi, Greg.
How are you, Ken? Good to see you again.
Same here, same here.
So what about that? Is there going to be some sort of a civil war down there in Mexico, or is it already happening?
Yeah, Jeff, I mean, the capture of El Mencho, or what's his name, Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, was a seismic event. And it's kind of like the United States / Mexico have just declared war on the cartels, if you think about it. But you know, the U.S. was up there. We had the satellites, the drone feeds. We directed the Mexican military. They had the boots on the ground, obviously, and they had to shoot their way in to get this guy. I think they lost. I think there was 70 killed actually during this operation. 70. But it was successful. It, you know, has taken him out. And Jeff, like you said, you know, there's probably now with this, there might be a vacuum. You know, I think this group of terrorists, I mean, they're just going to, or cartel, they're going to have to assess where they're going now, what direction, because they're rudderless. And you know, the other cartels, if they smell blood in the water, you know, they're going to try their best.
Did I hear you say the U.S. has declared war on the cartels in effect? Is that what you said?
Well, you know, look, it was President Trump that has come out and said, look, we have to stop the cartels. And there's a $15 million reward on this guy. And Mexico, you've got to try harder. But then when you look at what happened, what recently happened, when you know, this was I think what the military calls it a kill chain, where, you know, find, fix, you know, engage, whatever they say. But this was definitely worked in conjunction with our military. And, you know, I think the United States is sending a message: don't send your fentanyl and your meth to us anymore, or we're going to make you pay for it. And I think that's the message that was communicated.
Ken, I have a question, an observation maybe, but it seemed like years and years ago when we were first battling, you know, Mexico over drugs, it seems like it was an opportunistic crime at the time because of their, you know, we are sharing the border. But at some point, it seemed to have shifted to now where instead of they were a convenient conduit, let's say for Colombia cocaine, but then it sort of became like an open market. Like what can we provide that is illegal? So it kind of transmogrified from just cocaine distribution to, and then, you know, of course, marijuana, but then all of a sudden it was like trafficking in people, you know, whether it was foreign immigrants or their own people, and then fentanyl. And it seems as if the cartels now have seized on an opportunity where they're going to traffic and smuggle anything that they can turn a profit on, where before it seemed like it was more the connection with South America and being like the next, you know, the next country over to be able to get it in here.
Yeah, Greg, I think you nailed it. You really nailed it. I think they're opportunistic. And what's interesting about the border is, you know, it's gone from bootlegging liquor to, you know, when I was there in the 90s, it was marijuana and cocaine.
Yeah,
and
exactly. And those were the two main products, other than people.
Exactly. And so now you're talking meth, you're talking fentanyl, and anything else that they can sell. And you know, and what's interesting is, you know, they're modern. These guys, they have TikTok influencers now. They, you know, social media. They know how to use AI to promote their products and to frustrate law enforcement.
Songs
what about the kind of weapons they have? Is it military grade to some extent?
Oh, absolutely. And I know Greg knows this. And what's frightening about the cartels is now they're investing in drones. And you see what the Ukraine is doing to Russia with those babies. So they've used drones. They're not sophisticated, but they have killed some people in some of the smaller towns. Look for more drones. I think you're going to see a lot more of that.
Well, Ken, with the budget that they have, they can afford whatever technology and weaponry is on the market, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, what's scary, you know, and I follow border politics pretty closely, the whole border. You know, they were also at one point, they were inviting some, what is it, military people of fortune, whatever the term is, but these are people who would train them. mercenaries, and they were being trained. And I think there were some Israelis. The word was there were some Israelis that were training some of these. Not the Israel government, okay, but these are people on their own doing that. But they have the money. They can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you were sort of casual, Ken, the way you said, "Hey, the U.S. is sending them a message." I mean, but what's likely to happen? Are they likely to be intimidated by this message? Or, I mean, what's the potential here? Is the U.S. capable of defeating the cartel? We have all our military assets in the Middle East right now, but
not all of them.
Yeah, all right, a lot of them. Okay, but
Yeah,
I mean,
Jeff,
can the U.S. defeat these cartels, and what's likely to happen?
Yeah, Jeff, I don't know if we want to unilaterally defeat the cartels, but I think I think you're going to find the more and more assistance going to President Claudia Sheinbaum, and I think the two countries are going to be working closely to kind of root out as many of them as they can, or at least put the cartels back on their heels. Because and Greg had a very interesting point too about how they shifted from and when the border was open, they shifted, and then again, this is the opportunistic part of them. They'll just never go away. I have to admit that with the human trafficking, with the open border, oh man, they seized on that big time. Less product, more bodies trafficking, and now that the border is sealed, back to the drugs.
Yep.
So they're chameleons, and they can rebound.
Well, do we have to worry about them striking in the U.S. in one way or another? Some of them are here already, right?
You're right. It could happen, and I pray that it doesn't happen. Yes, the cartels are in my state. I mean, good God, if you go to Riverside County, tons of cartel members, and El Paso, where I was working as well, but. America, we love America very much. So they're going to take advantage of selling and also enjoying America. I think if they start, things like bombing and the things of that nature, I think that's just going to screw them even more, and there'll be more attention to them. I think what they're hoping to do, Jeff, just my guess is that they're hoping that this too will pass, and that it will be business as usual. I mean, they'll kind of back off a little bit. You might see less fentanyl moving around now, and the U.S. saying, "Oh, look, less fentanyl, fewer American deaths. We succeeded." But I think they'll bide their time, and they'll come back again.
Ken, I have I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to ask if you think the comment here is accurate. And this one particular cartel has 10,000 to 33,000 members, if that's even the right word for it.
Oh yeah. No, this cartel, what is it? Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generación. I mean, they are the bomb. They are El Mencho. Such a ruthless guy, and he was fighting with Sinaloa cartel, Juarez cartel, Los Zetas, all of the Knights Templar, Michoacan, all of these, and he arose above them. What does that tell you? And then he takes them. They're all competing, trying to kill him, and then he somehow manages to put together a federation of subservience to him. But everybody's making money, so it was okay. I mean, he tried killing us, and he killed us, many of us, but we're going to make money now, and there's peace, and that's what he did. And his, El Mencho's history is just amazing, and a lot of it intersects with what he did in the United States, the things that formed his life here in San Francisco, in Sacramento, when he was a teenager and a young man.
Go ahead, Greg. You had a question?
Well, Ken, you and I are in that same age category, and the focus years ago when we were first on the job was organized crime, and I think you spent some time in Newark, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and you were down in DC, but I'm a little bit of a history buff when it comes to the La Cosa Nostra, and it seems like the way they operated in Italy and then the way they operated here seems to be very similar to the cartels. In Mexico, they're very brazen. In Italy, they kind of took the same approach. When the government cracked down on them, they started assassinating politicians, bombing buildings or car bombs. They got very aggressive. But here in the United States, they wanted, the thing was they wanted to stay under the radar. They wanted to stay low key. They did not want to bring attention to themselves.
Right.
And that was their strategy in the United States, because they realized the repercussions were severe when they started to have these gang wars. And it seems like the analogy is the same with the cartels. It's the wild, wild west over in Mexico, but when they get here, they try to keep it stealthy,
I would agree with you, Greg. I think it's more diluted here. There, it's kind of a weaker military, weaker everything, and they can take advantage. And it's almost like drug trafficking is really an essential part of their economy. And I hate to say that, everybody gets paid off and grease the skids, and sometimes it goes all the way up to almost to the top,
highest levels. Yeah.
Right.
Well, they say tourism is 10% of the economy. So are drugs 90%?
must be close. It's a lot.
The latest news is some flights have resumed. I imagine it's still a dangerous situation getting to the airport, and hopefully folks are making sure their flights are actually going to go so they don't get stranded yet again. Do you think that this episode is pretty much over, or what's the latest you've heard about what it's like on the ground there now?
Yeah, I think this will slowly calm down. Scheinbaum sent out all their troops and their soldiers and everything, and so I think they've kind of gotten it somewhat under control. The problematic state, as you probably know, is Jalisco, where Guadalajara is. I mean, that's where they had the most problems, the most burning of trucks and blockades and things of that nature. So that's Jalisco. And the only problem I foresee is, and you guys probably know this, they have World Cup soccer matches coming up in June. And so, that could be a problem. And I'm wondering too if maybe they decided to take El Mencho out because of the World Cup and all the attention that will come to Mexico and Jalisco in June. I'm surmising. I don't know, but Jalisco is the state that's problematic, and they have the most. I would say most of the cartel guys from that cartel are active in that area.
Well, here in the U.S., when there's a major event like, say, the Super Bowl, and they consider it to be vulnerable, it's a high stakes situation, they have tons and tons of security, which was in the news just recently. Is Mexico capable of imposing that same level of security? And if not, could they or should they ask for assistance from, say, their charming neighbors to the north?
Yeah, it's funny you brought up the word assistance, because I think that's exactly what they're going to ask for. And I wouldn't be surprised, because even with the Winter Olympics, Italy had and look, you saw Kash Patel over there drinking beer and celebrating with the U.S. hockey players. He was over there for a reason, and that reason was that, and this, Greg, that the FBI will do some of these global events because the FBI is expert at this type of thing. So in answer to your question, Jeff, I think absolutely they will reach out to the United States, and you'll see but the U.S. presence will be kind of behind the scene. They'll project it's Mexico, everything will be Mexico, but there'll be Americans, I think, behind, security experts behind the scene.
Yeah, similarly, I think right now Scheinbaum is sort of posturing that she doesn't want U.S. help, and Trump seems to be playing along with that too. But would we be right to assume that's not really the case?
I think you're right. I think, President Scheinbaum, she knows what's happening in her country. She's pretty smart. She's going to have to live with these cartels for longer. I think, again, it was Trump sending the message that, look, I'm going to help her, and we're going to, we'll make life tough for you. If you make life tough for us, we're going to hit you back. So I think this is the first time this has ever been done in correct me if I'm wrong, Greg, but I haven't seen this happen with kind of the U.S. in the background, fairly obvious, satellite drones fixing the guy's position, and then saying, okay, Mexico, we got him located, take him out.
They with El Chapo, the U.S. was instrumental with intelligence, and they missed him several times, usually because of the time delay, I guess, with the intelligence and them getting the right people into the right place. But I think that had to be a little bit more CIA and DEA. I think this last wave of intelligence was more U.S. military, if I did from what I was reading.
Yeah, you're right. It's that it was a joint task force, and most of it was made up of the military.
Yeah.
I think they call them signals, which would be satellite stuff, which then takes them to drones and then takes them, they assess them. It's the same thing they did with Ayman Zawahiri, from the 9/11. He was like the last of the Mohicans,
Yeah.
still running from us all over the planet. And then they finally found him in Pakistan, and they took him out. But they had their eyes on him for like almost a month.
Somerville John is asking, are Americans still retiring to that part of Mexico?
Well, if you can afford Puerto Vallarta, yeah, there are some, but there are better places, I think, to retire to. San Miguel Allende is one of these places. Merida by the Yucatan would be another place, but I don't. Puerto Vallarta, Acapulco is a place I would not go to because I've been there, and it is cartel infested, and they've lost so much business, and it's not the Love Boat anymore.
Well,
let me
hold
tell
it.
you that much.
Well, it doesn't seem like Puerto Vallarta is exactly free of the cartels either, though. Do you think maybe now is a good time to get a better deal on real estate and or to book a hotel and or to book a cruise?
Yeah, maybe an Airbnb in San Miguel Allende would be a better choice, or Merida. But I mean, the cartels are everywhere. They were making a mess up until recently in Cancun. They were assassinating people, and all kinds of crime.
Well, we're
happening
joking
there.
about it, but seriously, are they going to have a big hit to their economy? Are tourists going to be afraid to go there now, do you think?
Absolutely. I think it's going to take a hit for sure. It's going to take time to come back from this situation.
There's an awful lot of destruction, including motor vehicles, cars, vans, and so forth. Is the insurance situation in Mexico comparable to the U.S.? In other words, if this were to happen in the U.S., we'd assume that most people were insured and the insurance companies would take a big hit, but the people would get their vehicles back. Is that the case down there too, or no?
No, it's it's different. I mean, what is burning in front of me is my car, and I'm not going to receive any compensation for that car. It's just a different.
Jeff, I imagine once the State Department issues a travel warning to any country, it must reduce their tourism rate in half. I mean, immediately, because people are going to be canceling trips, not booking trips. It's got to be a crushing blow when you go on that do not travel list.
Yeah, that's awful. I mean, the tourist industry, a few people get rich off it, but there's, a lot of laborers who work in the tourist industry. And if they lost their vehicles and whatnot, I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
I saw something on the news. There are a whole bunch of stories on the news about American tourists being trapped there. Most of them that can, it's just a period of inconvenience and their lives will go on. There was one situation where some elderly tourists, I think they went golfing or some outing, and the van that brought them there was blown up, and they were and so they were stranded there. And that's about when I really started to feel sorry a little bit for the tourists. Mostly, I'm like, hey, they're just tourists; they'll be fine. But because they're elderly and frightened and without food and water. So I guess eventually the police rescued them, but I'm not sure.
But interesting, though, Ken, I think, is the fact that Americans could very well have been killed or taken hostage, and yet it seems that they went out of their way to avoid any American casualties. And I think it's because of the fear of escalating this, where now the United States gets very, very involved.
You're absolutely right, Greg. Absolutely right. I think that's what they fear. They don't want it would just be tit for tat, and we would come after their supply chains and crush them and bomb them, and they don't want that. They want to make money, and so it's kind of that machismo. You killed one of our guys, and we're going to make it a hell on earth for a week for you guys, and but after that, I think things will cool off.
You actually, I was looking on Facebook. You actually have a friend of yours who's down there now. He was coping by playing cards at the hotel.
Yeah. Oh my God! It's my high school buddy. I saw him at the 50th reunion. I guess it was 2 years ago, and we were chatting. And the next thing you know, he's in Puerto Vallarta making those videos of burning buildings. And geez, wow.
Is he still there? Do you know, or he got out?
No, I think he's still there. He has actually has family in Puerto Vallarta, so I think he's there to stay.
Oh. So you guys might have seen in the opening the nonprofit group made up of mostly former veterans who do rescue missions all over the world when Americans are caught in sticky situations, and they were on their way down there. And I would think there's still a need for them to at least, even though the flights have resumed to some extent, to get them to the airport might be dicey, to say the least. I don't know.
Jeff, I missed the part where it was a nonprofit. I don't know if that was mentioned or you just knew that, but
it is a nonprofit, so they don't charge the people that they're rescuing.
Wow.
They survive from donations.
Yeah, that's right, Jeff. That was an issue, I think, in Afghanistan, where let's say the left was coming down saying, "Oh, look, you're a profiteer. You're profiteering from people's misery. That's why you did this. That's why you rescued them from Kabul." And these guys had to come out and say, no, we're a nonprofit. We do this because we love helping people and saving people. But it became an issue. I remember it became an issue.
Yeah. They had hearings on it or something, right?
They had hearings on it. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, every nonprofit, gets compensated. The trick is in judging them. Well, what are they getting compensated? Is it exorbitant or is it fair? As long as it's not exorbitant, there's nothing wrong with them getting a salary, from the donations that they get.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it is risky, right? It's risky, Jeff, right?
So if anybody wants to check them out, donate, or just look at their website, it's called Gray Bull Rescue. Gray Bull Rescue. So, as far as I know, they have a good reputation.
All right, I never heard of them before, but
yeah, I've heard of them, but they've got some good ones. They get the job done. They get people out. Yeah.
Here, I'll flash it on the screen. It's Gray. Let me, I got to type it first. It's graybullrescue.org. Graybullrescue.org. Did I spell that right? Yeah, there it is.
Nice.
So check it out. Check it out.
I'll have to look at it. Yeah.
But I was fascinated when I was researching El Mencho, and he was the last of the big drug kingpins after El Chapo and El Mayo Lambada. I think it's Zambada. After they were captured, he was the last Mohican. But he actually entered the United States as a teenager and lived in San Francisco with his brother. I think he was 19 when he came in, and he was arrested twice in San Francisco, and then I think it was 2000, whenever it was, in Sacramento, he was busted with his brother for drug trafficking, and they made a deal, and he had to testify against his. In order that he wouldn't testify against his brother, they said you got to plead guilty. So he pled guilty, and he did 3 years in Big Spring. Maybe you know the prison, Greg. It's FCI Big Spring, Texas.
No,
I've actually done work at FCI Big Spring, Texas. So he spent 3 years there, and then, and this is kind of interesting, he leaves. He's deported to Mexico, right? And then the first job he takes when he gets to Mexico is police officer, policia. So it's not the first time that happens with drug cartel people. They become cops, and then they say, you know what, I'm not making much money here.
El Mencho, every time that name is said, I can't help but think of you guys know the Yiddish word mensch?
Mensch, mensch, mensch.
Yes.
Well, I think Ken, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think El Mencho means like a nuisance, right?
Well, it's a kind of derivative off of Nemesio, which may be nemesis.
Oh, okay.
From what I understand.
Well, maybe, yeah, you guys would know more than me, but I actually looked it up, and it didn't seem to be any translation. I did the English or Spanish to English, and it just came up mencho. Mencho means mencho.
Mencho.
I looked it up, and it came back as somebody who's like considered a pain in the ass.
Oh, is he Jewish? Is he Jewish, Jeff? Mensch, right?
Hey,
Yeah,
I want to know. I want to know if the
Claudia
president of
Sheinbaum
Mexico is Jewish.
Yeah, she is Jewish, right?
Right.
Yeah. But that's amazing in itself because I lived in Mexico City for a few years, and you realize that the people I was working with were Jewish, and they had lived in Mexico, fled Russia or something, and Stalin, and they were been living in Mexico City for several generations, and very interesting to meet them. And their Spanish is like incredible, and yet their identity is Jewish, and it's really cool.
Interesting.
Getting back to my earlier question about, how strong are the cartels, can the U.S. defeat them? I was thinking back to how the mafia used to be a much bigger thing here in the U.S. And then I thought to myself, you know what, I really don't know that much about it. So can you guys give me and the audience a sense of whether or not it's literally the mafia or just organized crime in general? What's it like nowadays in the U.S. compared to what it was years ago?
The organized crime, the mafia?
Yeah, is the mafia, in other words, is my impression that it's severely diminished correct? And if so, have they been replaced by much of anything else? Or is organized crime still as much of a problem in the U.S. as it used to be?
I get the impression it's been very diluted and weakened. But I could be very wrong also. But that's the impression that I got is that the number of convictions and the number of people they were able to turn into informants and witnesses really gutted the infrastructure, and now they exist, but at nowhere near the level of power or reach that they once had. But that's the impression I get from what I know.
And you know what? That's what I'm hearing too, Jeff. The same thing that Greg said. Diminished, diluted, not what they used to be. And I guess some of those, witness protection things that they had with the Sammy the Bull, people turning evidence against, just completely decimated the mafia.
Yeah, that code of silence pretty much disappeared.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So it's a long-term thing, but it is possible maybe for something similar to happen in Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the problem with Mexico is it's so spread out, and it's been entrenched in their society for now 40, 50 years. It's going to be I think it's going to be difficult. It can happen, but it's going to be a slog. It'll be difficult to wipe them out if you even can.
Jeff, I think the better frame of reference is comparing it to Italy with La Cosa Nostra, where it is still a thing, where they still operate, they still have a lot of influence, they still have a lot of control. I think that's how Mexico is going to always be with the cartels, more similar to Italy than the United States.
Right.
Yeah, and the other thing I think we have to think about is the economy. If people are making better salaries and the country is prospering, then the young people don't have to think about going into narcotics or trafficking as kind of a way out of the poverty. So I think a lot of it will depend on kind of force, and some of it will depend on the economy, and some of it will depend on the United States helping Mexico get over the hump.
Right. All right. Well, tonight is the State of the Union address here in the U.S., and I might watch it. In general, doesn't matter who the president is, whether I like them or not. I usually can't stand it because the amount of time wasted on standing ovations is just beyond ridiculous. It's just so boring to sit there watching them pop up like every 20 seconds like robots and then applaud for a minute.
It's like watching a show when there's way too many commercials in there.
Yeah. So I guess I'll turn it on and then we'll see. I won't predict. I'll maybe watch the highlights or low light tomorrow. But while I have two FBI guys here, how about a State of the Union assessment or a State of the FBI assessment? Let's take a look at a clip first. Dan Bongino, who was with the FBI for about a year and now is back on his podcast, interviewed Kash Patel a couple of days. And here's a little bit of the state of the FBI that Kash Patel gave. And as you might imagine, it was all rosy. So A, do you guys agree with it? And B, what's your assessment, even apart from what he said? Let's take a look.
I did a pretty good job. But, it really isn't hard when you focus them on the bad guys.
Well, it's not hard, Dan, as you know, as an 1811 and a former police officer, it's not hard to do the job you signed up for if you're allowed to do the job you signed up for. And President Trump and this administration backs law enforcement and gave us the resources at this FBI and gave us the autonomy in you and I in running this building to remove the red tape, to remove the unnecessary approvals, and to get 1,000 extra agents. That's what we did, Dan. We put 1,000 agents into the field from Washington, D.C. We permanently removed them from the National Capital Region and sent them across to every single field office. And what did that do? It allowed people to hit the streets and investigate crimes, and it led to this. And I know you've seen this, but this is 1 year in the making of true historic reductions in crime. And you're talking about a 20% reduction in murder rate. You're talking about a 32% increase in fentanyl seizures, enough to kill 150 million Americans. Dan, you're talking about 4 top 10 arrests in 1 year, but as soon as you left, I had to add 2 more. So now we're up to 6. I couldn't let it stand at 4. So in 1 calendar year, we arrested 6 of the FBI's most wanted fugitives in the world.
You know what I'm talking about. I was busting my ass on that one, but I was like, So, but hey, good job. Once I saw it on the news, I was proud of you and the guys.
No, you laid it, and you gotta let it know. Those 6 go to you. You laid the groundwork for it. You work quietly behind the scenes. I'm just telling you. And look, I think the audience should know. I can't even memorize these. I look at these every day, and it's just hard to believe. 490% increase in those who prey upon our children. 490% increase in arrests by the FBI. The FBI under the last year, twice as many increase for violent crime from 24 to 25. Twice as many arrests. That's unbelievable, Dan. These numbers are truly historic. And that was the foundational tectonic shift you and I put into place in the FBI to let the cops go out there and be cops. And this is what happens.
And one of the things I know I've heard you emphasize.
All right, these guys love each other, and they're bragging. How much of that is valid? What do you guys think?
Go for it, Greg.
Well, I'm going to say this. I don't want to throw shade, but anything about the top 10 fugitive list, I would completely disregard. And I'm going to explain why. I think the statistics that he cited are very impressive, and I'm glad to see that they finally started to squeeze manpower out of the Washington D.C. headquarters. That place was so top heavy. I'm surprised it didn't tip over. I mean, the redundancy and supervision over there was just insane. So I'm glad to see that they gutted that headquarters because that was long overdue. What I think they tend to overlook the impact of is ICE either removing people or these people self-deporting, which is a difficult category to calculate how much crime has been reduced just because of that. But make no mistake, the fact that those people have either been removed or they have self-deported is certainly impacting on the reduction in crime across the board. But what I'm saying about the top 10, I was aware of stories where, Jeff, you know this, Ken, but Jeff, just so you know, if you're an agent that apprehends a top 10 fugitive, you're going to get a large financial incentive award. And you're also going to be given the office of your choice, and pretty much the assignment of your choice. I mean, it's like getting hitting a Powerball in the FBI. The reason why I take a jaundiced view of that is because I'm aware of instances where someone would know pretty much exactly where a fugitive was located and not report the information, not act on it, but keep pressing headquarters to make this person a top 10 fugitive. And as soon as that person was made a top 10 fugitive, lo and behold, they came up with the information that found exactly where they were. And, they were gaming the system, and they were just waiting for that chance to have this person moved up to that top 10 list so they would be able to capitalize on it. I'm not saying that happens regularly.
What's the reward? Does this vary or?
No, I'm just telling you, it's a financial incentive award, which is.
No, I know, and I'm asking how much.
Years ago, it was only $1,500 in a letter from the director. But the money was it was less about the money and more about what came with it. The idea of picking your own office anywhere in the country or the world to go to, and then oftentimes whatever kind of work you decided you wanted to do.
But when the FBI makes an arrest, isn't it usually several agents who are involved? And
yes, but there's always a case agent.
The case agent, a lead case agent.
Right.
Is that the only person who gets the reward, or the others get it too?
They're going to get the benefit of most of the award. They may assign some sort of award to the squad or to the team, but there's going to be only one case agent on that, and that's the person who's going to make the most from it.
All right.
Yeah, I think.
Ken, what's your
State of the
Union?
No, go ahead. State of the Union.
Yeah.
No, I mean, the 6 out of 10, top 10 that they've taken down. I'm impressed. I didn't know. I don't know the backstory like Greg was saying, but ostensibly, I'm impressed by what he said. And the other thing that Greg mentioned, which I had been following, is the moving of the personnel from D.C. to the other field offices and resident agency offices. I think that was a good thing because I think they figured out that it was like a third of the workforce was in D.C. So are you telling me that a third of the crime in the United States is in D.C.? Well, that's not the case. So glad to see those people moved around. Glad to see they're not working on like political cases like raiding, Mar-a-Lago, things like that, or January 6th, and they're doing kind of more normal work. And I the that's what
traditional FBI work, Ken, right?
The brick agents. That's what we love doing.
The backbone of the FBI.
Amen, Greg. Amen. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Except, aren't there like a whole bunch of them who have been devoted to combing through the Epstein files rather than doing what they normally do?
But those are probably not, and Ken, you might know better, but those are most likely analysts for the most part. I don't know if it's a lot of actual special agents doing that.
I hope not. I hope they're analysts. Yeah. They're not wasting manpower.
Correct.
Or people power, I should say.
Well, whoever they are, they would otherwise be doing whatever they usually do. So I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it is what I'm getting at, because so far it just seems like an awful lot of smearing and not that much of in the way of uncovering prosecutable crimes.
But Jeff, one last thing. I'm just happy that they're moving out of the J. Edgar Hoover building because, my understanding was they had nets outside the building to catch the falling chunks of concrete, that it was so old and so awful that they had to catch them with nets. Time to move.
Yeah, especially since their director drinks beer, he can't be in a dangerous construction. Now, you mentioned he went to the Olympics to look into security situations and all that, but he also did this.
Oh, hey, gold medal! Yeah, I want one of those.
What's with I have a feeling this is a stupid question that everybody else knows except me, but what's up with the goggles? Do you guys know?
The goggles? Isn't that alcohol stinging your eyes? You need goggles, I think. But, he played, Patel, he's a rabid hockey fan, and he played hockey. So
He still does. He's in a men's league.
yeah, I heard. Yeah, I heard that. So it kind of makes sense that he likes these type of people.
Yeah.
Jeff,
So-
I would rather see my director jumping up and down, having fun and celebrating than walking along the beach looking for shells that spell out certain phrases.
Oh, well, he's the former FBI director, but I take your point.
Yeah, what is
No,
it?
I don't
What-
have any. I don't have any problem with him doing that. I mean, I guess if you're like politically motivated, you can mock him for that. And people are talking about how much it costs and this and that. But isn't it sort of typical? Well, maybe not specifically for the FBI director, but for government officials to go to the Olympics, that doesn't seem like the most unusual thing in the world.
Yeah. And I think usually they'll go at maybe I don't know, maybe it's happened before. I know we've had people out there doing security appraisals, and maybe at the end of it, the boss shows up to shake hands and say we did a great job. But maybe he walked into the wrong locker room or something.
Well, the question is, what's the ratio? How much time was spent looking into security, and how much time was spent drinking beer with the athletes?
Oh, I'm sure they've had this thing scoped out for a year or more.
Right.
Jeff, I have to think of when I used to be in the workforce, it always struck me that if they, when I say they, the administration, whatever, if they like you, then no matter what you do, they're going to like you. And if they don't like you, no matter what you do, they're not going to like you. And I get that impression as with Patel. No matter where he goes or what he does, there's going to be detractors and critics. And no matter where he goes and what he does, there are going to be people who say, I think that's a great idea and I support it.
Yeah, it's like Hegseth when he works out with the troops. He likes to work out with them, lift weights, do whatever. And I don't know, some people are mocking him for it, and others say, oh, it helps generate a good spirit of camaraderie. What's that Latin term, esprit de corps? How do you pronounce that?
Esprit de corps. Yeah, esprit de corps.
How do you pronounce it?
I like that.
Esprit. Yeah.
I think it's French.
I think Francais.
Oh yeah,
Esprit de
you're
corps.
right. You're right. It is. Yeah, it is French.
Yeah, I think it's French. Yeah, but
all right.
yeah,
Well, Ken,
yeah.
you've been spending a lot of time lately doing interviews about the Guthrie case, and it just so happens my esteemed co-host Greg has a couple of theories about that, and maybe you'd be kind enough to let him bounce them off you. If we ask nicely, would you?
I would love to hear it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm going to go on the record, and I may embarrass myself, but I have two things that I've been thinking of.
Yeah.
One is I'm guessing, and we'll see if I'm right, because I'm sure they eventually will make an arrest. If this person has either neck tattoo or a facial tattoo, which is not really all that uncommon with some of the former MS-13, well, not former, but MS-13 members or Mexican prison gang members, teardrop or the 13 or whatever. But I'm thinking the ski mask was so like over the top that it comes to my mind that when bank robbers used to do stuff like that, oftentimes it was because they were trying to cover neck tattoos or some facial tattoo that they had, and they were very concerned about being identified through that. So that's one guess that I have that doesn't advance the case at all, but I'm just thinking I'd be curious to see if I turn out to be right. And the other, Ken, is they were making a lot of hay over the gun, the firearm, the semi-automatic pistol that he had in the front. And I'm thinking that you have to obviously follow up on those leads because they could very well, identify the person. But I'm also thinking there's probably a 50-50 chance it's going to be a pellet gun. And the only reason I say that is because in my experience, and I'm not a gun guy, but people that spend money on a semi-automatic pistol are not going to spend $10 on a holster that doesn't fit the gun. In my experience, they're gonna buy a $50 or $80 molded plastic pistol. Holster that fits that particular model so that it's securely in there. I can't picture somebody spending that kind of money on a pistol and then buying a $10 nylon pancake holster that doesn't really fit that particular gun. But that, again, doesn't really advance anything other than I'll be curious to see if I turn out to be right or wrong on that one.
Yeah, definitely. Those are very interesting observations, and I will pass those along to Nancy Grace when I see her or speak to her. But no, absolutely. That could be. I mean, it could be someone that has done time in prison. And you make a very good point about the holster and the gun, the mismatch and that type of thing. I'm going to go back and say, I'm going to go back to that inner circle of friends and family. And I think that maybe somebody in that inner circle may have, talk about loose lips, may have mentioned it wittingly or unwittingly to other people about her situation, that she's a low risk type thing. And maybe that garnered the interest to get those people. But, among friends here, I think Mrs. Guthrie's gone. And, you're looking for maybe two people that are in Mexico, maybe in the interior of Mexico. That's my guess. That's just my guess.
And here's one other thing I had that I was thinking of. And Jeff, I don't mean to take up too much time with this, but
No problem.
I've been kicking it around. The backpack looked to be two things to me stood out. It looks to be fully filled out. It's not loose and empty.
Right.
But also, it looks to be very light in my eyes. Like if I've worn backpacks, and the heavy stuff sinks to the bottom, it tends to sink further and further down your back the heavier it gets. This thing looked to be like it's filled with like either a blanket or maybe a lightweight sleeping bag, a comforter, something like that. And my theory was, because you don't show up to do a burglary with a full backpack. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Unless it's going to be a backpack full of empty gym bags where you plan on taking a lot of stuff out of the house. But I don't get the impression that was the whole idea of it. I got the impression that it was going to be maybe a lightweight sleeping bag to put her in. In which case, once he has her in that sleeping bag, he could drag her out to the front yard, go down the road and retrieve his car, drive up, throw her in the car and drive off. It could still be a one-man operation. It's not likely, but it could very well be. You don't have to necessarily have two people if the idea is to subdue a 130-pound, 84-year-old woman.
Right. Yeah, no, that could be. You could be right. It could be just one person. For some reason, I'm thinking because she's infirm, because she's elderly, and because they've scoped this out, I'm thinking two people. But if you have two people, that increases the chances of they're going to be discovered quicker, sooner, eventually.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and the other thing I was thinking, Jeff, was that the first deadline, I think, was a legitimate deadline when they said 5:00 on a Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I think at that point, she must have died like that day or whatever, because all of a sudden the next deadline was Monday. And it's like, well, what do you mean Monday? Monday at noon, Monday at midnight, Monday at 3. I mean, all of a sudden we went from having a very specific deadline time to just 3 days from now. And in my mind, I'm thinking that's the indication to me that she's already expired.
That makes sense.
And just today, I saw something, speaking of Nancy Grace, I saw something where there's another, apparently on the video, there's another flashlight next to the person. It almost looks like it's coming from another person. And they're saying now this could be the second person shining the light to help the first person see better when they're up there. They actually circled this light. It's kind of a square thing. So keep that in mind. I just saw it before I came up here with you guys.
See, I got the impression it was one person because I never really saw him, craning his neck to see where about his partner would be. I think that's a natural thing when you are working with someone to sort of have an idea of where they are or what they're doing. And I never got that impression from watching the limited amount of video footage that they had, but it never struck me as he was looking for his other partner.
That's a great point. That's a great observation. Hey, you should be working on the task force, buddy. That's a really good
Well,
I'm never short on ideas. They're just not always good ideas.
no, but I'm
I don't
writing
think
it
he
all
was
down.
angling. I don't think he was angling to get to Nancy Mace or to work on the task force. I think he was angling for you to get him on Newsmax as a commentator.
Hey, con mucho gusto. My pleasure. Please help
Hey,
me.
the question one of our audience members is asking, I bet, is a question that many people wonder about, which is how often are kidnappers actually successful? When they get the ransom money, do they actually get away with it very much? Like, it doesn't seem like it's very likely that they would get away with it. What do you guys know about that?
Well, if I could just jump in, Jeff, we're never going to know the number of people that have paid ransom without ever contacting the police or the FBI. So that's like an impossible number to ascertain, because if it goes unreported, then obviously we're unaware of it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Sort of like we don't know how many people are voting illegally.
I guess, yeah.
I don't know. A weird analogy, but that's what I thought.
Yeah,
All right.
we'll get to the bottom of that. We'll get to the bottom of that.
Yeah. But all right. But sometimes the police are involved. I guess if the people are willing to pay the ransom money, then they get away with it. But I don't know. It just doesn't seem very likely.
Yeah. How about the
Thoughts?
Sidney Riso case in New Jersey, where they kidnapped that Chevron oil executive, and I think they asked for $18 million, and the FBI showed up with the money to hand it over to them. But they were spooked. The husband and wife were spooked, and they bolted. They thought they were going to be trapped by the FBI, but the FBI came to pay in 100s. But that case didn't turn out very well either. Mr. Riso was died in a box. They left him in a box after they shot him in the shoulder. It didn't end well.
Well, you said the FBI was going to pay him, but presumably that's not all the FBI was going to do after they paid him, was it?
Oh, they probably would follow them and try to follow them for sure. But they were there to get, to exchange money, that part.
Yeah, right. All right, well, since the last time you were here, Ken, we have a segment called Has It Happened to Greg? And what we do is we you're already laughing. I don't know why, but we play videos of police encounters, and we just comment on them and ask Greg if anything like that has happened to him. We want to respect your time, so no problem if you have to go, but we would like to cordially invite you to join us for this segment. Do you feel like hanging out?
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah.
All right, and you're okay to do it? We have a backlog of videos. We don't have to get through all of them, but I've got plenty. You doing all right, Greg?
Here we go.
All right, hold on a second here. Let's find our little intro. Thin Blue Lie, folks. Don't forget to buy Greg's book. We have flashed Ken's book earlier, A Cop's Son, and let's give equal time, because the FCC is imposed the equal time rule on us, maybe.
It's a great book. I read it. It's fantastic.
All right, there you go. You're like Kash Patel and Dan Magino, the Mutual Admiration Society.
Well, Ken has quite a career. Ken has quite a career.
Hey, Greg, you should be the director. I'd be the assistant director. We'd have 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10.
We would get things going there, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, now that you two have praised each other to the hilt, let's go to our first video and take a look at this.
It comes via police body cam footage from Louisville last month. A missing 3-year-old child. More than a half dozen officers on the search. They sent up a helicopter, but had no luck until this happened.
Oh, what's up, dude? There's a dog. Where's he at? Let's go.
That's Officer Josh Thompson responding to a dog that seemed to have something important to say.
It led me all the way back to the backyard. At that point, I'm thinking, okay, this kid's in this backyard.
And sure enough,
the dog went right to the back bumper. Check the rear here. Goes to the back bumper and just sat there.
Yeah, he's right here. After a quick lesson in car locks.
Grab and pull it. There we go! I don't think I've ever seen a happier kid in my life. He jumped out of the car, bear hugged my neck, and wouldn't let go.
Good job, buddy. The dog had cracked the case.
Blessing from you. Man, I don't know where the dog came from, but it was a blessing from God that day.
And here's the thing about that dog. Officer Thompson says he'd been patrolling that neighborhood for 2 years and had never seen the dog before that moment. And he hasn't seen the dog since that day. And to this very day, the department still does not know who the dog belongs to.
You know how you see on Facebook when there's videos, sometimes they say, wait for it. Wait for it.
Yeah.
That's the wait for it. That's amazing. I figured for sure that was the kid's dog, their family dog or something, or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Yeah. Now, we've had stories here, videos before with the police dog doing their thing. But have you ever had an encounter where it was some other dog that helped you in some fashion?
No. That is so, I mean, I have to think that's so rare and unusual that's like a 1 in a million kind of a story.
Yeah.
Surreal.
Now, Ken, you weren't a police officer also, were you? You just worked?
No, I was not. My father was the police officer.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's why the name, the book's name makes a lot of sense in that case.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't sure if you were also. Okay.
No.
So
But
let's.
it's funny, Jeff. I saw a picture of Ken's father, and at first I thought that was Ken. It was an old photo, but it was Ken's dad in uniform, not Ken.
I guess we looked alike, right?
Yeah.
All right. The apple doesn't fall very far from the tree. All right. So let's take a look at the next video.
Get down on the ground. Put your head down on your back. Get down on the ground, you're going to get tased. Get down on the ground, or you're going to get tased. Get down on the ground. Put your hands behind your back, you're under arrest. Tased. You're under arrest. Tased. Put your hands behind your back. Tased. Now. Put your hands behind your back. Tased. You're under arrest. Tased me, bitch. Tased me, bitch. Hell yeah! Sack that motherfucker!
The crowd's rooting against the assailant or whatever we call it. All right. So that tasing thing worked like instantly. What exactly is it? I mean, it's, to me, tasing is just a word. But what does the device do?
Well, Ken, I didn't have any experience carrying one, but I guess it has a dual purpose. It can be a contact weapon where you just press it against the person, although that seems to be the less likely use of it. But it acts like a firearm in the fact that it sends two barbed prongs out attached to very thin wire, and it allows you to discharge electricity through the wires into the prongs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my understanding. Right?
So basically, they're electrocuting the people, but electrocute, I guess, means you die. Is that the word by definition? But they're to a lesser degree electrocuting. That's what it does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would think so.
disrupting
Yes.
the central nervous system with the electronic current. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it considered safe, or do people get injured from it in kind of a long-term way, or die, or?
I think there have been rare instances of people, usually that are already under the influence of narcotics,
Mm-hmm.
that have gone into cardiac arrest. But I think it's, number one, it's very rare. I think more of the injuries are caused when the person collapses and strikes their head on the ground. Or against an object as they're falling, because you pretty much are almost temporarily paralyzed by the discharge of the current.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's such a great option. Instead of using a firearm, you could use that and take someone down.
Well, I mean, back in the old days, I mean, it was a baton. I mean, so, basically you try to strike the person in non-dangerous areas to the point where they were in so much pain they would comply. But I mean, that's pretty barbaric, and it looks barbaric. This looks much more, humane.
Humane and effective, I guess. So we don't have to worry about the person bursting into flames or anything like that.
No.
I don't think.
All right. Well,
it would not be that popular a choice in non-lethal weaponry if it had a bad record. I'm sure that because it's been so effective and so successful, that's why it's so popular.
Right. All right. Let's move on to the next video.
It's late night.
And an officer in a cruiser is pursuing this biker because he doesn't have a license plate on his motorcycle. Earlier, the officer tried to pull the man over, but instead of complying, he took off.
We're up on the Camp Robinson exit. He's in the middle lane. Speed 100.
The biker takes the exit off the highway and checks behind him. He confirms that he's still being pursued. But it looks like the uneasy rider is finally running out of road, hitting a literal dead end. He jumps off the bike and takes off on foot, just out of view of the dash cam. Off camera, officers continue the pursuit on foot and tase the fleeing suspect. But it's not enough to stop him until the voltage from the taser produces a shocking result.
He's on fire! He's on fire! Get extinguisher! Extinguisher!
As the man runs away with the taser probe still attached to his body, he falls onto his backpack, which, unknown to officers, contains a gallon of gasoline. The impact, combined with the electricity from the taser, causes the fuel to spontaneously combust, engulfing the man in flames. While the officers race back to their vehicle to get a fire extinguisher, the suspect rolls frantically on the ground until the officers come back to put him out. 38-year-old Christopher Gaylor was treated by officers and EMTs who arrived soon after, before being taken to the hospital where he recovered from his injuries.
Wow. I'd like to see that recovery. Whoa. Okay, I was being a little devious there when I referred to bursting into flames.
Yeah, wow.
I thought at first that you were going to say his clothes had been soaked in gasoline because he'd been working as a mechanic or something, but that was, yeah.
It's horrific, unbelievable. It's got to be one in a million, really.
Right. So now the police will be sued. They should have known he had gasoline in his backpack.
A gallon of it in his backpack.
Yeah. I mean, who doesn't run around with gasoline in their backpack?
Of course.
All right. So we can safely say that the tasing itself won't make anybody burst into flames, but if they have gasoline in their backpack, then perhaps.
Yeah,
I'm sure the officer would not have fired that taser if he thought there was just so he wouldn't get burned.
He could have been engulfed too, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Jesus.
The narrator said the guy recovered, but I don't know about a full recovery. That looked pretty severe.
Some burns.
Hey, that old drop and roll from the old school days paid off for him.
Yeah.
All right. Next video.
Vehicle. I've asked you already 3 times. Calm down, buddy. 3rd time's the charm. What's the attitude?
Have you ever seen a guy get arrested for drinking Dr. Pepper?
No. How much you had to drink today? Not very much. How much is not very much? You don't know? Okay. Well, you're unsteady on your feet getting out of the vehicle. Are you going to consent to field sobriety exercises? Absolutely not. I'll do a breathalyzer. So how much did you have to drink today? Not enough. Not enough? Okay. Kind of have it something like you have a thick tongue, slurring your words just a tad bit, so I'm just want to make sure. Because I'm old. I'm a disabled combat veteran from Vietnam. Okay. So what I'm going to need you to do right now is I'm going to need you to put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest for DUI.
DUI? What's that mean?
That means he's under the influence of alcohol beverage.
He is not. He never drinks.
She's saying you never drink. You don't drink. You said you did drink.
I did not. You said, how much have I had to drink today? I says, not much.
So what did you drink today?
I had a couple Dr. Peppers. I had a water.
No alcohol?
No alcohol.
Not one bit?
Not one. Give me the damn breathalyzer.
So I think some cops do their job so long that they start thinking everybody's a criminal.
I don't know, but if he didn't go to jail, it was because of his wife.
Yeah, I wouldn't blame the cops. He did sound drunk.
Yeah. Well, number one, you are not supposed to let anyone smoke, drink, or eat once they are stopped, because it can affect the breathalyzer test from that point on. So that they were already making a mistake right there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't even notice. I guess he was like sort of munching on something, but wasn't he already eating it?
It doesn't make any difference.
Yeah,
what are you supposed to do? Just whack it, make him immediately spit it out?
Just ask him to please spit it out and stop eating, because once you conduct the stop, they're not supposed to drink, smoke, or eat.
Could have been a breath freshener, candy mint.
That's something that kills the detection of alcohol. Yeah. Yeah.
It kills the smell of it, but it's still going to pick up the. But it can also affect the breathalyzer.
Right. But he did seem drunk. Do you think he was fucking with the cops, or he's just a little bit of a weirdo and he just said what he said?
That's probably his baseline.
Yeah, hard to.
You know how they do that, Ken, on the polygraph, right? Try to establish the baseline, so then you can figure out what's unnormal or not normal. Well, that's probably the way the guy just happens to be.
Right. That's his baseline.
Somebody's asking if we're going to know if Greg ever had to use a taser.
Never had to use one, and never had one used on me. Which I understand in a lot of academies they do tase people so they understand what it feels like. But no, that was all. When I left the police department in 1985, I'm not sure when the tasers were introduced, but it certainly was way after that.
How about you, Ken? You ever been tased or done any tasing?
Never tased anybody.
Would you like to? It sounds like it might be a nice S&M type ritual.
Yeah, no, I saw that in one movie where the kid tased one of the fella. I forget that movie, but it was funny.
Yeah, sounds like a riot. All right, just a couple more, and then we can call it a night. Let's see. In honor of the blizzard that Greg just endured, how many inches of snow did you get in Connecticut, Greg?
14, where I was, yeah.
Oh, my God, that's
14
right, Greg.
inches. And Ken, you're in beautiful California, where not only does it not snow, it doesn't even rain, right?
It rained a few inches this past month.
Oh, yeah, this time of year, but okay. Yeah. All right, so here's a snow story.
Man in Canada and local police had a good laugh after the Montreal resident fooled officers with a full-size car made entirely of snow. According to CBS 46, Simon LaPrise sculpted a life-size model of a DeLorean DMC-12. Does it look familiar? More on that in a moment. In the middle of a local snow removal zone. The car, here we go, made famous by the Back to the Future movie franchise, drew the attention of one police officer who was so fooled by LaPrise's snow work, he called for a second patrol car to check out the DeLorean. After the officers realized there was no car under the snow pile, LaPrise was given a fake parking ticket that read, "You made our night, ha 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 ha," obviously translated there. The 33-year-old mechanist's prank was reportedly plowed clean, by Montreal sanitation workers the next day. Matt Uris for KDKA News.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's great. I love it. Made my day.
So I don't think I'm sure you've never encountered a car made out of snow, but have you ever had snowballs thrown at you like the New York City cops had? Did you see that in Washington Square Park?
It was awful, just despicable.
I'm glad I missed it. I didn't see it, and I'm glad I did.
It's the mayor. That's the mayor setting the tone. It's tough. Oh my God, poor guys.
Well, it wasn't the mayor actually throwing the snowballs.
No, I know, but it's
setting the tone.
Setting the tone,
Cops aren't respected, so I don't know. I'm planning to go to New York in May, and I'm not even going to feel secure. If why would the cops want to risk their lives if they're not backed up?
Right.
Am I making too much out of it? Maybe I am. All right, let's see. Got a couple more here. I think. Oh yeah, here's a good.
Hi there. Hello. I'm Officer Kessler of the Westminster Police Department. Any idea why I'm stopping you today?
Because I was acting like an idiot.
Yeah, huge in that parking lot. You're lucky you didn't hit somebody. Are you sure you haven't drank any alcohol? Because I got a smell of alcohol coming from the vehicle right now.
No, sir. It's my...
Your Zins? The Zins are supposed to... They smell like alcohol, or... Okay, that's interesting. Would you be willing to do some voluntary roadside maneuvers today?
Yes, sir.
All right. Give me a second. You don't want to complete these?
No.
All right. Go ahead and put your hands behind your back. So you have 3 kids hiding in the trunk.
Yes. What are you guys doing?
Okay. Well, now go ahead and step over here.
Good.
You didn't think that would have been a good idea to say something before?
About a minute ago.
Whoa.
Wait for it. I was actually looking at something else. Did the kids in the trunk thing show or no?
I'm sorry?
Did it show that there were kids in the trunk?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay.
I thought I saw kids in there.
Oh, right. Yeah. So there were kids in the trunk.
Well, I'm guessing his maneuvers in the parking lot were supposed to entertain the kids in the trunk. Is that what I'm guessing here?
I don't know. I actually have one guess. It's not a very good one, but basically it's a mystery. Like, why would he have kids in the trunk and be driving drunk at the same time? That's a pretty weird comment. The only thing I could think of is if he's sneaking people into a drive-in movie theater. There aren't too many of those left in the U.S.
No. I get the impression he was doing it to entertain the kids with his maneuvers through the parking lot. Like, it'd make it more exciting and fun if you were in the trunk getting bounced around than in the back seat. I don't know.
I've never done that with my kids.
That really sounds like a very severe crime when you put those two things together: driving drunk and putting kids in the trunk.
I wonder what his baseline is.
Were the kids drinking too? So hey, yeah, maybe it was a fraternity prank, a pledging for a fraternity.
Oh my God!
Or training for that. All right, I think I have one more. Let's see. Here it is. One more.
He's coming away!
On February 6th, 2026, dispatch broadcast a call regarding an auto burglary that had just occurred in the Southern District. A witness stated that a suspect in a dark-colored SUV had just burglarized a vehicle and stole a backpack. Real-time investigation center officers discovered that the suspect vehicle had been reported stolen out of the peninsula and received an alert that it was being driven in the South of Market area. A drone was launched and quickly located the vehicle and witnessed it driving in a parking lot casing other vehicles. The drone continued to monitor and update units on the ground as the suspect vehicle exited the lot. The vehicle drove towards the Octavia off-ramp exit but got stuck in heavy traffic. Due to the fact that the vehicle was attempting to get back onto city streets, had already committed multiple felonies, and would likely recklessly flee from patrol officers, putting lives at risk. Responding officers developed a plan to apprehend the suspects.
I think we're about to bail.
Several uniformed police officers ran up the off-ramp towards the suspect vehicle.
Passengers running down the freeway, drivers out, drivers running.
The suspects in the vehicle then got out and fled as officers pursued them on foot.
Passengers still ducked up on the car. He's running further up the freeway.
One of the suspects climbed over the center divide and ran on the southbound lanes of traffic of 101 before officers tackled him to the ground and took him into custody. The other suspect ran southbound in the northbound lanes of 101 and attempted to hide behind occupied vehicles.
He's over here.
Real-time investigation center officers relayed the actions of the suspect to responding officers and directed them to the exact location where the suspect was hiding.
You just threw something!
Several more uniformed officers ran towards the suspect, who then ran over to the east ledge of the freeway and tossed a firearm over onto the street below. The drone captured this and quickly alerted officers on scene. Several officers caught up to the suspect and placed him under arrest, as well as locating and seizing the firearm that had been tossed moments prior. Officers secured the stolen vehicle and located another firearm with an extended magazine. Both suspects were convicted felons who were prohibited from possessing firearms. They were booked into county jail for multiple felony charges, including possession of a stolen vehicle, auto burglary, and several firearm-related charges.
Is that just me, or is that excellent police work? What
That's
do you guys think?
top notch.
Wow, I love it.
A1.
Love it. And drones. You got drones too. Wow.
I love the drone feature. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
And they saw him throw the gun over.
Yeah. It's all on tape.
My only issue with that, Jeff, is, and I noticed it was San Francisco.
Yeah.
Why are we blurring out the face of somebody that has been arrested in public?
Oh, I didn't even notice they did that.
Yeah, when they were putting him in the back of the squad car, they pixelated his face.
Oh, well, because maybe this might be from a TV show, and they blurred it out because they didn't get the guy to sign a release.
You don't need to sign a release.
All right, well, I don't know if that's so, but I'm just pointing out it's probably the TV show.
He's on a public freeway being arrested. That's not. He has no right to privacy.
The only thing that concerned me was I was hoping that these guys wouldn't pull their guns out and start a gunfight on the freeway. That would have been really just terrible.
Right.
Fortunately, it didn't go that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, actually, Greg, I think they might need a release sign, but we can look into that. I'm thinking of the show Cops, that long-running show. I seem to recall that they needed to get releases, but anyway, it was blurred for some reason.
Blurted out appeared to be body cam footage from that angle, and I don't understand why they expect any privacy for that.
Felon. Yeah.
Well, maybe the TV show erred on the side of caution.
Could be.
Now, one thing that I was curious about, I don't know if you guys noticed, that it looked like the guy was going to jump over the wall of the freeway, and I couldn't tell how high up he was. Did you see that part of it?
Mm-hmm.
Let me show you that again.
I would say it was at least a 2 or 3 story jump.
That would not have been a pleasant landing. It's a little bit after. It's a little bit after this.
Right.
See right there.
Oh yeah.
That looks pretty high there. Ooh. But where it happened, you can't. It was a little harder to tell.
Yeah. This.
Can you let me try to back it up?
From the size of the cars below, it looks like it's going to be at least 2 stories, if not 3.
And it looked like that was his intent. He was going to jump over.
Well, I think he was thinking about it.
He thought about it, right? He thought about it. An option. Glad he didn't.
He looked like he was more than thinking. He looked like he was going. Anyway, that's the only thing that struck me.
Great police work, yeah,
pretty good. Pretty good.
Very impressive. All right, Ken, thanks so much for joining us. Let's remind folks that your book is A Cop's Son, and you can get it at ustourofduty.org, our website. Also, Greg's book is available there, and that's The Thin Blue Lie.
That's it.
And there it is. And then if people want to follow you on social media, we've been flashing your X feed, and also your website is kennethstrange.com.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
You're welcome. And if they want to follow you on X, it's Strange Templars. What in the world does that mean?
The Templar, that's a cartel, actually. It's the name of a cartel. No, Knights Templar. The Knights Templar from Spain. They protected Jerusalem and all the pilgrimage routes. So I always thought I was a Knight Templar.
Oh, okay.
In my mind.
And what was it like as a kid having the name Strange? Were you mocked as a weirdo?
I was. It was tough, and I was always fighting my way out of it. I am not strange. I am not. I swear I'm not. Yes, you are. Oh boy. Only in Brooklyn, right?
All right. Well, I hope I didn't give you a painful flashback just by asking.
That's funny. Thanks. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Ken. Great seeing you again. Thanks for coming on.
You too.
Okay.
All right.
And watch tomorrow night, Ask the Inspector at 7 p.m. And then on Thursday night, The Whiners. Our guest will be Professor Josh Blackman. We'll be talking about the tariff situation and also the Supreme Court in general. This guy is an expert on the Supreme Court, so hopefully he'll demystify how they actually operate and tell us a little bit about the personalities behind the scenes and what happened. So I'm looking forward to that in particular this Thursday night at 7. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you, Jeff.
Okay. And thanks to our beloved audience. We'll see you next week at the same time.
Next week.
Nighty night.
Good.